Hi, lovelies. I'm Queen Lovely. Welcome back to Melanated Crowns, Activating Your Divine Femininity. Today, we will be talking about the situation with Brandi, who is a love and hip hop star, and what happened between her and her husband. Before I get into that, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the notification bell. And be sure to participate in the conversation that's going to be happening in the comments via the comment that is pinned, which will be a discussion question. Also, if you would like to book your own special spiritual advising session with me or intuitive session, that information will be pinned in the comments as well. Thank you so much for watching in advance. So I wanted to come on here today and talk about Battered Woman Syndrome. So Battered Woman Syndrome is said to be a subcategory of post-traumatic stress disorder. And basically, women that are in relationships where they are being physically abused, emotionally abused, or financially abused tend to develop this sense of helplessness and this mindset that the abuse and trauma that they are suffering from, that they are experiencing, is something that they deserve, okay? And it's very important that I started this video off with that term and with that definition, because that is how I'm going to be able to, spiritually advise and analyze this situation between Brandi and her husband. A lot of times when we see women in relationships where they are being physically abused, our first knee-jerk and automated response is to kind of condemn her and call her stupid and just be like, I don't understand. Why would you be with someone and think that they love you if they are physically, emotionally, and financially abusing you? So as we've spoken about several times on this channel, one of the reasons why I started Melanated Crowns, which has to do with Black women activating their divine femininity, obtaining and sustaining mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness, is because, in my opinion, and based off of my experiences as a young Black woman who's 25, to obtain but also be able to sustain mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness with the tools that we gather from lessons and losses is to build a strong infrastructure. In order for you to be strong enough and cognizant enough and discerning enough to not find yourself in situations where you are experiencing abuse, especially for long periods of times at the hands of someone, whether it be a man or a woman, you have to think highly of yourself. Your self-value has to be up to par, and your self-worth has to be up to par. You have to not only know what it is that you want, but you also need to know what it is that you don't want. There was a clip that went viral where I guess Brandi and her husband were getting into it. And we heard her saying things like, we'll never, she was talking to her kids, I'm going to assume. You're never going to see daddy hit mommy again. She was crying. She just looked disheveled and out of it. And what was really sad and what was really alarming was she came back to defend her husband and deny any claims of abuse or that he put his hands on her. And it was just very surprising to see to a degree, but it also wasn't, because I know that from the little clips I've seen of Brandi on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, I think that's the part of the series she was part of, she was real rah-rah. Very rah-rah, very verbally aggressive. But typically, that's usually how it is. Women that are in abusive relationships at the hands of men, you'll find that they'll be extra hyper aggressive and vocal towards women. Evelyn Lozada is a perfect example of this. Iyanla Vanzant had to clock her 2 years ago when she had that domestic abuse situation with Ocho Cinco. And Iyanla was able to string together the context of the way Evelyn Lozada had been showing up for the past 2 seasons on Basketball Wives, because she was always a mean girl, but we just seen her behavior take a dark turn to where she was getting violent, running across tables, hitting women with clutches, throwing wine bottles and stuff. Like, it was just getting a bit much. And then come to find out, allegedly, outside of that isolated situation she had with Ocho Cinco, he had put his hands on her a few times. So you're abusing the women that you work with verbally and physically, because at home, the man that you lay with is doing that to you. So when it comes to Brandi from Love and Hip Hop, I just get this energy that it's the same thing with her. She came across very aggressive and loud and just ready to pop off, because it's that defense mechanism. I could only imagine when you are living and laying with someone and building and having children with somebody who is physically abusive to you, that you learn to kind of be on the defense. You can never really walk or sleep, the way that you want to, because you just never know when this person is going to flip on you and just start taking his anger out on you. So when you go and you're around other people, you may not even realize that subconsciously you've been programmed to kind of jump first and ask questions later. So here is when empathizing with women, victims of domestic violence, becomes dicey. Because if it was just Brandi and she's married, she ain't got no kids with this man, fine. Even now, okay, you have 2 kids. I think they already have 2 kids together. Cool. Y'all have 2 kids together. Unfortunately, he's abusing you. It is what it is. It's no time for the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. The question that some people have is, especially after that situation, why are you still making intentional choices to have kids with this man if you know that this man is abusive towards you? And this is battered woman's syndrome. She doesn't see the problem with it. There's a part of her that is broken, that feels like she deserves the abuse that she's receiving from her husband. And on top of her feeling like she deserves that abuse, there's an even bigger part of her that wants to make it work with her. It's very hard to watch people that you care about and love be in these situations, because from my experience of talking to women who have been in abusive relationships, they will rationalize out the ass why they have a nickel sitting on their head, or why this man rammed their head into a washing machine, or whatever the case may be. And then it's like, on top of that, it becomes a situation where you're rationalizing this bad behavior that happened to you, and then you're also constantly shape-shifting and trying to figure out, how is it that I'm supposed to present and show up so that he doesn't have to do it to you? Once again, battered women syndrome, rationalizing in your head that you deserve this, you did something wrong, and this is a you problem. And then you bring children into the situation. So this is how toxicity and family dynamics start and generational curses start. Because you have these kids witnessing this man put his hands on you, and then you're turning around and saying, I love you. And when y'all are having, half-assed decent moments, you're sending mixed signals to your kids. So they're going to start to equate abuse with love. And that's just not a good message that you want to put into, kids' heads, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, because when they're at that age, they're subconsciously programming everything, and it's already shaping their worldviews. I just feel like the best thing that the internet can do and that people can do for Brandi is just allow her, space to hopefully find a way out. I don't think people should be criticizing her. Like I said, battered women syndrome is real, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. I can't call her dumb. I can't call her stupid. She's broken. She's broken, and she doesn't know her self-value, and she doesn't know her self-worth. And it's unfortunate when you have people like that have yet to master self-love, that bring children into this world. And now you're expected to love and nurture and pour into this child, but you have yet to learn or begin that process of doing that for yourself. So for that, I am disappointed, but she's human and she's doing the best that she can. And that's just like, people do the best that they can. So that's just my 2 cents on the situation. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the situation in the comments. And once again, if you would like to book your own spiritual advising session or intuitive session with me, or purchase a spiritual advising package with me, all of that information could be found on my booking site. If you have any questions before purchasing, you can always email me. I respond very quick at AKJELDSON. And the information for my email and everything else is pinned in the comments. Have a lovely day.